Hey, this is Jason Kanigan from Make Space Boring, the morning of Wednesday, the 18th of December. How did this happen? I'm about to go out for my walk. It is below freezing in Asheville, so this should be interesting. But nothing horrible happened overnight. The power flickered, but did not really go out. So what happened? What am I doing? Who am I meeting in the space field? Let's see. I was pleasantly surprised to see that Cold Star Technologies, that's our company, got listed in the NewSpace hub yesterday. I had no idea, but several people messaged me about it to congratulate us. So that was cool. It's nice to be on the board, I guess. Let's see. We'll be booking with Dr. Jim Pass, who is the CEO of the Astrosociology Research Institute. Now, there's an interesting field. Basically, the theory is, and it makes sense, that let's say we get people going to live on Mars, those Martians are going to develop their own society and veer off with what they believe, the cultural norms in that are compared to Terran values. So as the writer in me, and I'm thinking about doing some short fiction and trying that out in the daily newsletters that I'm sending out during the weekdays and seeing how people react to those as entertainment. I don't think anybody's doing that. We'll see how that goes, and being able to employ some of the astrosociological ideas should be interesting. Something that's not so related to space but is interesting, I was checking an email account, and Sonia Melnikova-Raich, who wrote a paper on Albert Kahn, who was the subject of a Cold Star Project episode a while back, messaged me, and I've been trying to connect with her on LinkedIn because I referred extensively to her paper about Albert Kahn. And if you don't know who that is, I'm not surprised. I'm an operations management guy, and he's an industrial architect responsible for building all the large mass production, continuous manufacturing factories of the 20th century for the United States of America and the Soviet Union. Pretty amazing. In my opinion, he's the guy who helped the world beat the Nazis. I would recommend going and listening to that episode. Even she thought it was entertaining, and she knew all about it. So she connected with me and said, hey, this is cool, and why don't you link my paper to it there? So I was able to include that link in the description for the podcast episode. So let's see, what else? Oh, something that just happened. Bryant Mishima-Baker, who is a space lawyer and he's a judge advocate general in the Air Force, finally got the approval from the higher-ups to be on the show. So we're in the process of booking his time to be on the Cold Star Project. And so that'll make 3 or 4 space lawyers that I'll have had on by that point. I know Christopher Johnson's episode has come out at this time, but I've also recorded with a couple others. And they've all got, slightly different opinions and interpretations and viewpoints on especially Article 1 versus Article 2 of that Outer Space Treaty. Pesky thing. You can't go and claim stuff, but go touch it. Nobody said you couldn't. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next 20, 50 years, and hopefully we won't get into any wars about it. But I am working on an interesting market validation project for a piece of software. It is going to, well, it does. It's already selling, but we're going to help expand that market reach, getting it into the hands of the CFOs who really need it. Oh, by the way, and I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to keep saying it because, all 6 of you who religiously watch this thing, I appreciate you very much, but there's tons of people who haven't. I was having a chat with somebody a couple days ago, and I realized I don't know very much about how ground stations work for space in terms of like a Leo Labs thing where they're looking up in the sky with telescopes and identifying some puck-sized swarm satellite, and that's what that is. And then there's that funneling of, okay, well, we saw it. Now we need to identify it, and then we need to, uniquely track it and know where it's going, and then finally we've got a good picture of what this thing is. I don't really know how that works all that well, and I would love to have an expert on the Cold Star Project, the full format show, to talk about that. Now, I want to make sure that companies who come on that have specific technology, or if it's a military or government thing, compliance issues and security issues get pushed off, right? They're over there. We don't discuss those topics. So anybody who would come on to talk about ground station operation, I don't expect to hear technology secrets or anything like that. Just a general theory about how these things work is plenty. You know, those of us who are not niche down into that field will be fascinated by that. So if you know somebody who would be a good candidate for that, please link them up with me, and I'll appreciate that very much, and I think the audience will as well. This is Jason Kanigan from Cold Star Tech. I will talk to you tomorrow.